Everyone. Hello everyone, and thank you for attending this seminar. As mentioned on the screen, if you have any question, you can submit them in the Q&A tab that you will find on the bottom of your screen, and that we will go through them at the end of the presentation. The recorded version of this webinar will be available at the World Potato Congress website, and it should be available in one or 2 days. You can inform people who have not been able to attend it. Okay. So I would like to thank the World Potato Congress sustaining partners who provide the funding to support the World Potato Congress operation, including the webinar, like the activities we're implementing today, and also Global Potato Congress that are organized every 2 years. So you'll see the sustaining partners are organized in 3 groups. On the top, you have the platinum level sustaining partners. You have the gold levels and the silver level platinum partners. So it brings me to the next slide to inform you, remind the World Potato Congress that will be held in Adelaide in Australia this year from June 23 to 26. So for those interested, you are welcome. You can find more information about the World Potato Congress in Australia on the website of the World Potato Congress. So today, the webinar will inform you about the International Potato Day, and the attention of this year to 2024 will be harvesting diversity and feeding hope. And it's a pleasure for me to make this presentation with Dr. Chikelu Mba, Deputy Director of the Plant Production and Protection Division at FAO. And Chike, I can ask you to say just a few words to the participant. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, André. Good day, everyone. It is my pleasure to participate, and I yield back to you, André.
Okay, thank you. So today, the presentation today will cover several themes. So first, I'll talk about potato diversity and potato distribution and its importance around the world, you know. I will then cover some today's global challenge and how potato can respond to those global challenges. I will briefly describe the International Potato Day and its planning process. So that will be the first part of the presentation. Then I will give the floor to Dr. Mba, who will present the proclamation of the International the Day of Potato by FAO, and also introduce to the contribution of potato to the Sustainable Development Goals. And finally, he will present the resources for the observance of the International Day of Potato that are provided by FAO. So most of you know that the Andes are the home of the cultivated potatoes, and potatoes were domesticated dozen years ago. They were first found close to Titicaca Lake, and was 7,000 to 8,000 years before Christ, you know. And today, the genetic diversity and variation at the center of origin in the Andes is still very important. You can see on the picture. You can get just a small idea about diversity of potatoes of different colors and shapes, you know. But you should know that today still 400 native potatoes, like the one you see on the screen, are still grown in the Andes, mainly in Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, but also Colombia and Venezuela. And just wanted to mention also that SIP is playing an important role in the conservation and the maintenance of those genetic resources. And in the GEM+ bank of SIP, you know, here I am presenting a list of the material that is maintained by SIP. First, on cultivated native potatoes, there are 7 different species and almost 5,000 accessions. On the wild potatoes, we have 145 species and 2,600 accession, you know, on the wild potatoes and some of the native potatoes. All this work was implemented by SIP and it still continued to be done, but it was mainly implemented when SIP was created. So already almost 50 years ago. And also, you can see on the screen here the improved clones that are the results of the breeding and genetic enhancement work of SIP. There are around 1,610 clones in the germplasm. So in total, we have 152 species that are in the SIP germplasm bank, and more than 9,000 different type of potatoes. So it's quite impressive. This picture, John, wanted to show you the distribution of potato around the world. And if we start here with Latin America, you can see that most of the potatoes in Latin America are grown in the Andes. If we move up to North America, you can find them also in the northern west, the western part in the north of the US, and then you will find them also on the north, and you'll find them in Canada. If we move to Africa, I think many potatoes are grown in the east, in the highland of East Africa, you know, starting in Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Congo also. But on the west, you can find them in Nigeria and also in Angola. Yeah. When we move to Europe, you see that potato production is quite important. The story of potato production is quite important. You can see potato is grown in Northern Europe, in Eastern Europe, in Russia, Ukraine, which are one of the most important countries producing potatoes. But in the recent years, the potato has developed very much in Asia. You know, when China is the most important potato producers in the world, and India also. And we'll show some data later on about the evolution of this potato production. So potato is currently grown in about 20 million hectares of agricultural land around the world, and under, as you can see on the picture, different agroecological conditions. You know, potato can be grown in the highlands. You can find them at more than 4,000 meters altitude in the Andes, and you can also find them at the sea level in some places, you know, in North Africa and in Chile, for example. So you can see that the agrosystem is quite, that makes the strength also of potatoes, that it can adjust to different agroecological conditions. When you look at the evolution of potato production across regions, you know, looking at data from the early 60s until recently, when you look at the table here, we start on the bottom, the blue, dark blue on the bottom is Africa. You can see that the potato production is increasing, has been increasing more recently in Africa and still growing. Asia has been growing a lot since the early 2000s, and as I was saying, is the most important region producing potatoes. On the green line here, you can see the potato production in Latin America. It's relatively constant but increasing. Where the potato production is decreasing is in Europe. You can see here in yellow how the potato production has been decreasing in Europe. And on the top we have the evolution in North America, where it has increased a little bit and is relatively constant at the moment. Around 1.5 billion of people worldwide consume potato as a staple food, and we consider staple food when they consume at least 50 kilos per person per year. So I think potato is very, very, very important as a food crop, as we can see on this figure here about the world food consumption per year of the 3 main nutritious crop. So you can see that potato is the third most important food crop, you know, following rice, wheat, and it's just above maize, you know. So that's again showing the importance of potato around the world. There was a study implemented by IFPRI, one of the CGI center working on policies and research, you know, that was done in 2017, and they make a study about the perspective about the evolution of potato production up to 2050. So you see on 2015 was in blue, 2030 in dark yellow, and 2050 light yellow. If we start from the left, so Africa, you can see Africa will continue, the potato production will continue to grow in the next 20 years. Northern America will remain more or less constant. Latin America will continue to increase. You can see that, I wouldn't say surprising, but we can see that China will not continue to grow. And I think it's also linked to the evolution of the population in China that's not growing as much as it used to be. But what we see here is that India the potato production in India is the perspective is that it will continue to increase quite drastically. The rest of Asia will also have a slight increase. And on the right, you have Europe, where you see the decrease will continue to happen in the next 20 years. The challenges, today's global challenges have increased over the global challenges have increased during the recent years, and for several reasons. First, the global food demand is still increasing, and it will increase by 50% by 2050. We have the emerging impact of climate change. Everybody knows about the effect of climate change, the drought, higher temperatures, sometimes also heavy rains, and also the effect of regional conflict. But one of the most recent one is the war in Ukraine, which is affecting the supply, especially wheat, and prices of food crop. So to respond to those, these are just a few of the global challenges. Dr. Mba will come back to those challenges later on in his presentation. But to respond to those global challenges, the global food system required a substantial improvement, like we can show here on the bottom of the screen. This to be able to provide income and sustainable livelihood to farmers, to obtain nutrition product for consumers, and also we need to improve the global food system to minimize the current environmental footprint. So in this concept, potato can help provide many effective solutions to meet today's challenges. And you must why. So here I'm presenting three of the main aspects through which potato can contribute to respond to those challenges. If we start on the left, I think potato can say it's a resilient crop. It has a high yield capacity. As we have seen in the previous slide, is at a very good adaptability to different agroecological systems. It has a relatively short growing cycle compared to other crops. And also it's good to be mentioned about potatoes' carbon footprint. In a recent study implemented in China, they found that in general, potato, despite it's still relatively low yield in China, has lower greenhouse gas emission and water demand than other staple crops. Then it was compared with maize, wheat, and rice, and that was measured on a per calorie basis, which shows that okay, potato seems to be more efficient talking about the carbon footprint. The other aspect is the I'm not able to pronounce it, subsistence and nutrition. And potato plays a dual role in the economy of the farming family because it provides resources to the family. It's a cash crop, but also food for the domestic consumption. So I think that's also an important aspect of this as compared to other food crops. And as it is produced locally, it can play an important role in food crisis, and especially when those global food crises, because compared to other commodities, fresh potatoes are a product that is little marketed on the world market, and the potato is absent from the major international commodity exchange. So it is not affected by those global price volatility that we can observe sometimes. So this is the reason why potato can contribute to mitigate disruption in global food and supply and demand that impact the prices of other food projects, like we can observe in some cases. I'm citing wheat again, you know. And finally, in this aspect here, the demand for processed potatoes increases in the south, providing added new opportunity of added value to farmers. And finally, on energy and nutrition, potato is a very nutritious and energy-rich crop, but also it's an excellent source of vitamin C, potassium, and also good fibers, you know, for the dietary fibers. Potatoes also contain micronutrients, such as iron and zinc, and you know, deficiency in iron is still very prevalent in many countries of the south, creating the anemia, and so potato can contribute to respond to that challenge. And for example, SIPNO, the breeding program at SIP, is developing potatoes which are much richer in iron to respond to this one of these the nutrition challenge. So when we were promoting the International Potato Day and its celebration, many people were asking why an International Day of Potato. And so at least here I just mentioned three reasons we used to mention. First, it's going to be the first International Day related to a major food crop. It will contribute to raise awareness and understanding of the potato nutritional benefits and contribution to society and food security. And also the celebration of this International Day of Potato will encourage global collaboration between public and private potato sectors, and also between country and global institutions, you know. So we have the example here talking about global institutions, FAO, but also international potato centers and other institutions, you know. So I want just to mention a few words about the planning process of the proclamation of the International Day of Potato. You know, it started already in 2021 when at the level of the World Potato Congress, we discussed about the idea to celebrate the International Day of Potato. We submitted the idea to FAO at that time. It was well received, but we were told, you know, it is not so easy. The proposal need to be submitted by a country which is a country member of FAO and the United Nations. So we felt at that time that Peru could play an important role in this process because it's part of the Center of Biodiversity of the Potato. Peru was already celebrating the National Potato Day, and the National Potato Day in Peru is celebrated on the May 30th. And also Peru has played an important role in the International Year of Potato in 2008. So that's why we contacted the government of Peru. And at the same time, we had also been in touch with several other countries, presenting the idea, indicating that it was important to get the support to present the proposal to FAO. And with Peru, Belgium, Ireland, China, Canada, and Australia were the first nation to express their official support to FAO. At the end, with Peru, they formed a coalition supporting the celebration of the International Day of Potato, you know. So the results, and that will be now presented more in details by Dr. Mba, that the United Nations proclaimed May 30th as the International Day of Potatoes. That's going to be a potato celebration in many countries and culture. The process will be supervised by FAO in collaboration with the government of Peru, with the World Potato Congress, many countries, and Potato Association. And it's going to be the opportunity for a global celebration to social media interaction, in-person events conveying key message about the potato. That's something that now is going to be developed by Dr. Ba, to whom I'm going now to handle the floor for him to continue with the presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing my presentation to allow Dr. Ba to share his own screen. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so very much, André, for that, for setting the stage so eloquently. Are you seeing my slide now?
Yes, yes.
In full mode?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So Good day, everyone, wherever you may be joining from. I reiterate my thanks to André for very eloquently presenting the potato crop to us, the third most consumed crop, and then also emphasizing the role that small-scale farmers, especially in the Andes, have played in maintaining the genetic diversity of this important food crop and handing down this as a legacy to current and future generation. As André has already indicated, my role is really simple. It's just going to be to introduce the International Day of Potato to you all. And the theme, International Day of Potato, which is going to be on 30th May. The theme for this year's celebration of the International Day, for this year's observance, is Harvesting Diversity, Feeding Hope. So André already alluded to the incredible diversity amongst the potato and also the potentials of the crop for contributing to the much needed food security and nutrition. So yes, I confirm that the proclamation of the International Day of Potato by the United Nations General Assembly in December last year was a culmination of efforts that were led by the government of Peru, with FAO working with, as André said, the government of Peru, the governments of several other countries, and the multiplicity of stakeholders that intervene along the potato value chain. And importantly, for due process, through FAO's mechanism, the proposal for the declaration of an International Day of Potato went through the Committee of Agriculture, FAO's Committee of Agriculture, that a number of us will recall by its acronym of COAG, the session of FAO Council also in 2022, and then the 43rd FAO Council in 2023, July. So I mention all these details just to underscore the importance that the organization places on the observance of this day. It had to go through its governance mechanism. It was ultimately adopted by the United Nations General Assembly at its 78th session in New York, United States of America, in December last year. And in the resolution, the United Nations General Assembly invited FAO to facilitate the observance of the International Day. And then, of course, the organization accepted this while recognizing the enormity of the responsibility that it places on us. Before speaking a bit more to the International Day for this year, for those who can, if you look at the resolution proper, that resolution recognizes that the Andean indigenous peoples through their traditional knowledge and practices of living well in harmony with nature, have originated, diversified, maintained, controlled, protected, and preserved the potato. So we should be thankful to them. It also recognizes, as I had mentioned, the role played by small-scale and family farmers in this regard, and recognizes also the potentials and the actual contribution of potato to addressing hunger, malnutrition, and then importantly also enhancing the livelihoods of people. The United Nations General Assembly also places quite some trust in this observance, in that it is expected that the International Day would provide a comprehensive platform to accept the problems that still constrain potato production, because it's not yet Uhuru yet, and it is based on all these, the diversity, the demonstrated contributions to food security and nutrition, and the envisaged potentials that this year's theme is harvesting diversity, feeding hope. I will take a step back and try to, Okay, so André already alluded to the International Year of Potato, which was observed for a whole year in 2008. And the year had several legacies, but the ones that stand out most is that it raised awareness of the importance of potato in addressing issues of global concern. Both André and I have already alluded to its contribution to addressing hunger, poverty, and importantly, because of its amenability to low input production systems, its amenability to subsistence agriculture. Also, it has potentials for producing meaningful yield, even in spite of threats to the environment as posed by climate change and variations. Let's talk a little bit about the leadership of the International Center for Potato in the observance of the International Year. CIP convened the so-called Cusco Challenge, which was a mechanism to bring leaders of thought in science, research, development, and policy making to put minds together and identify, how potato could be made even better, could be an even more reliable food security crop. And the themes that were identified included challenges such as poverty and hunger, the imperative of managing pests and diseases sustainably, the ever-present threat of climate change, and the need for the enhanced resilience of crop production systems, because potato is hardly ever produced in isolation. The communities that grow potato as part of a cropping system. The genetic diversity in potato that is begging to be harnessed, and the incredible pace of the development of genomics resources to even better understand the heredity of the traits of interest and also enhance the capacity and scale for breeding progressively superior varieties of potato. The role of small-scale farmers was also underscored through the Cusco Challenge. And 16 years later, where do we stand in terms of global development drivers and the continued relevance of the potato crop in being a tool to build our common prosperity in spite of all the challenges that confront the world? So, if anything, the challenges have increased in the last 16 years. Climate change continues to pose an imminent threat to both agricultural systems and our well-being on planet Earth. I guess it's not by any accident that 2023 was the world's warmest year on record. Population continues to increase, and with population increases, other attendant societal problems of insufficiency of resources that manifest in migrations, in civil unrest, all these have also continued to increase. And a major embarrassment to our civilization is the fact that hunger and malnutrition have been worsening progressively for the past several years. So much so that we could say that 1 out of every 10 persons abides some level of hunger and malnutrition. If we could even broaden that further to capture the fact that in places like sub-Saharan Africa, we're even looking at, say, about 20% of the population. So in spite of all our developments in science and technology, diplomacy, and everything, we still are struggling with addressing both hunger and poverty. More than 3.1 billion people in the world were unable to afford a healthy diet. Urbanization is increasing. More people are moving from rural areas to urban areas. And then conflicts over resources are escalating. And if you all recall also, in 2015, the global community came together and set these 17 lofty goals as to how this world will become a better place. Of relevance to the discourse today is we committed to have zero poverty by the year 2030. Zero hunger, to eliminate hunger and malnutrition in all its forms wherever they occur on planet Earth. Also to provide decent work and economic growth and follow responsible consumption and production patterns, and then also safeguard life on land. These are just some of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals for which the strengthening of the potato value chain could contribute to their achievement. So yes, our webinar today is a prelude to the grand finale, the observance of the International Day on 30th May. FAO, in living up to this mandate, this responsibility, this request from the UN General Assembly, has been assembling a collection of tools that will facilitate the observance. So we as FAO will be observing it at FAO headquarters in Rome, Italy. SIP will be having an observance in Lima, Peru. I understand there will also be some other activities at the UN headquarters and virtually in every capital of the world. But we all have some roles to play. We all don't have to travel to our capitals. And it is in recognition of that FAO has provided a dedicated website where there will be these communication resources that will enable this coalition of the potato adherents to observe this day that celebrates an important food security crop, and then also the role of small-scale farmers in bequeathing the diversity of the crop to us current and the future generation. Importantly, there is a guide on how we can all participate. We could organize an event. We could initiate home and community gardening. We can engage with our community, and we can also prepare one or several of the many recipes, tasty recipes of potato. There is also a Trello board from which we find all these resources that I have alluded to. There is the guide, and then the key messages are also there. The visual identity for the day. All these are free. They can be downloaded gratis from the website. And ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and colleagues, please save the date, 30th May 2024, and try to observe in your own way. No amount of effort is too little. We need to celebrate this important food security crop. And with this, I thank you all so very much. The email address of the Secretariat of the International Day of Potato, which is hosted here at the Food and Agriculture Organization, is provided on the screen. Feel free to contact the Secretariat for any clarifications that you may have. And with this, I thank you all very much, and I sign out. Over.
Okay, thank you, Chike. I think that was very explicit and very well described, especially about the role of potato in the proclamation of the celebration of the International Potato Day. So now we'll move to the question and answer, and let's have a look. And so there was a question, I think, but it was answered in the chat, that will you send a copy of this deck, of this presentation? I think that will be available on the World Potato Congress website. There was another question. Why do you think that we are seeing a reduction in potato production in Europe? I think that has been an evolution of the consumption habit also in Europe. So I think that has been one of the main reason. And what you observe in the countries in northern part of Europe, most of the potato production goes to processing, and less potatoes are consumed fresh. You see. So let's see the next question. What do you recommend in order to increase value chain? So Sheikh, if you agree, I'm going to take the next one, and you'll take the following one. Okay. So what are the initiatives that you recommend in order to increase the potato value chain? Well, I think that's it's a very broad question, but I think for the potato value chain, I think an important aspect to increase the potato value chain is the availability of seed availability of appropriate varieties. You know, it could be varieties that are producing well, and when I say should be resilient, tolerant to pest and disease, and also in some value chain responding to the industry requirement. I think it's also very important to improve the links between farmers and other value chain actors. In many cases that I have observed, farmers sometimes are not aware really of the specific needs of the value chain. So it's important to develop those links between farmers and the value chain actors. It's very important also for farmers to improve crop management, to improve the production efficiency. That's also just to reduce the cost of the product. And finally, to respond to your question, I think it's important also to improve the storage capacity to allow sometimes farmers to be able to keep the potato a bit longer and be able to supply good quality potatoes. Okay, so Sheikh, I let you answer to the question from Rodney Cook. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, André. If I may add to what you've already said about the strengthening of the potato value chain, I think this is context specific, so it depends on where and what the realities are. There might be the need, if the market exists, for instance, for potato fresh produce or processed products, one may then look at the supply chain. How are consumers getting the potato? Is there the market? Is there a motivation for farmers? And if there is the market, what about the supply of progressively superior crop varieties that are suited to that environment? Is the seed system sufficiently robust so that farmers are getting disease-free seeds at reasonable prices when they want them, where they want them? And if that is working, is there a research and development capacity to be breeding superior varieties that keeps the production system ahead of the curve of these constraints that we have been enumerating? And if all these are taken care of, André already talked about the agronomics. There is also the issue of the pests and diseases. Are farmers able to manage them to bring them below economic threshold? And when we are done with all that, and we are moving further down the value chain to processing, and André talked about storage. But in addition to storage, there is also a need for infrastructure, for processing, for value addition, for transportation. And with all these come the need for access to finance. The small and medium scale businesses that will be adding value to potato, are they able to access the needed finance that will be required for them to produce? So all in all, it's going to be context specific, What is required is a meaningful evaluation of the problem so that reasonable solutions could be found. Yes, Rodney Cook asks whether something is planned on 30th May or at FAO and elsewhere. Yes, on 30th May, we will be having the observance here at the FAO headquarters in Rome, Italy. We envisage an engagement with Italian potato farmers just outside of our premises to start the day. Sometime during the day, our Director General and some leaders of governments and other opinion leaders will get together for the formal ceremony to observe the day. We anticipate that this will coincide with events happening at Peru and possibly in New York. Then later in the evening, Peru and a number of other FAO members will be organizing a culinary aspect of the event that will provide people with the possibility to taste dishes that are prepared by world-renowned chefs. It is also it's not yet clear, but there may still be some side event of a more technical nature that will look at research and development and progress and so on and so forth. It is also possible that some other members will also be organizing things outside of these three modules that I have mentioned. So I would say, please continue to check the FAO website. We will publish ultimately finalize a concept note and an agenda for celebrating this first International Day of Potato at FAO and elsewhere. Thank you. Over.
Thank you, Chike. That was thank you for giving some more, because many people even before the meeting were asking me what's going to happen on the 30th of May. So I think you gave a very good description. That's good. Thank you. And then we have a question here: how can we address the climatic disruption in potato farming, especially in India? I think that could be the theme, the subject of the next webinar, because it's quite it's a broad subject, and it is also context specific. And I think just quickly, a few ideas. For example, through breeding, I think we can already improve the tolerance of, and then it's already going on. CIP is already going on the developing varieties that are much more tolerant to higher temperature. You can also develop varieties that are that produce with a shorter growing cycle, so sometimes they are less exposed to those climatic disruption. Crop management can also be playing with planting dates. I think there are many options that can be used. Even I've sometimes seen in some countries that farmers were using mulching, to reduce the effect of the of temperature. So I think that there are several factors. Irrigation can also be used in some cases when water is available. So it's a broad subject. It is, as it was mentioned by Chike, it is context specific according to the effect of the climate change. So the solution should be developed by coordinating between research organization, development organization, and farmers to see what is the best option to respond to those climatic disruption. I don't know, Chike, if you want to add a few points.
Yes, André, you have said it all. Unfortunately, potato has quite some relationship with some unhappy aspects of our history, and we should learn from that. Potato also offers us the tools. I do think that in places where potato is grown in India, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. Please continue to take advantage of the outputs of research and development in terms of progressively superior crop varieties. Use a diversity of varieties. I'm not, by this I mean improved varieties that are demonstrably productive, that contain nutrients, that are resistant to pests and diseases. Andre already alluded to good agronomics. You use the good genetics, also use good crop husbandry practices, know when to plant, know how to prepare the land, figure out how you supply water, how you retain water moisture, and so on and so forth. And plant protection. You know, when one of the consequences of climate change is also the emergence of new biotypes of pests and diseases. Develop some integrated plant health portfolio for managing the effects of these biotic stresses that will start with host plant resistance and the use of a combination of pesticides to repel or kill the disease causative agents. So again, it's going to depend on where we are talking about what the problem is. But I do think, importantly, André, SIP has a repertoire of tools, of information, of resources. Please contact the agricultural extension agents closest to you that may link you to your national crop research center with mandate on potato, and ultimately, if need be, to the International Center for Potato. FAO is also a partner in development. We can also work with our members to mobilize resources and mechanisms for addressing local problems to the potato value chain, including climate change and other stressors. Thank you. Over.
Thank you, Chike. And I think we have answered the questions that have been raised, and I think also we are coming to the end of this first session in English. So so I would like to thank all the participants for their interest and also for the question. As it is mentioned, I think that presentation will be available on the World Potato Congress website. You will be able to go through it again, and if you have any question, you can transmit them by email. And as it was mentioned before, also, if you have more question about the International Day of Potatoes and would like to participate, I think contact you had the mail address of the FAO, of the Secretariat in charge of the celebration of the International Day of Potatoes. You can also find it on the website, and you can share your question. Also, you can share your contribution and what you are planning to do for celebrating that very important celebration. So again, thank you very much for your participation, and I think we will stop here this webinar in English and get ready for the next one in Spanish. So thank you very much.